Hi RMC, today we're going to go through a movement in the press series. So focusing on the shoulder press, which is a vertical pressing movement. So first let's go through the points of performance for the shoulder press, and then we'll dive into some of the common faults that we tend to see so you can avoid those and become a lot more proficient in this movement. So let's get started with your stance. Your feet should be about hip width apart. Okay, for a barbell shoulder press, you're going to hold onto the bar with your hands outside of your shoulders, full grip on the bar. The bar rests on your torso, so just on your shoulders. Elbows should be slightly in front of the bar. Okay. And then from here, what you're going to do is you're just going to press up on the bar. But first, what you need to do is pull your head out of the way so the bar just brushes past your nose. The bar goes up in a straight pathway, finishes with your arms locked out overhead, and then it comes right back down in the same pathway as you started, right back to your starting position. One thing to note is when the barbell is overhead, there should be an invisible vertical line that extends from your barbell through your shoulders, through your hips, right to the middle of your foot to ensure it's in a proper overhead position. So again, from the side, head out of the way, press, and then right back down to where you started. Okay, and the same points of performance remain for a dumbbell shoulder press. The only difference is now you don't have to get your head out of the way. So all you have to do is press straight up with your arms, with your dumbbell starting on your shoulders, elbows still slightly in front. Squeeze your belly, squeeze your bum, press overhead. Quick check, wrists stacked over the shoulders, through my hips, through the middle of my foot, and then back down to the starting position. And that's the shoulder press. A common fault that we tend to see in the shoulder press is overextension. So what that means is you'll see it when ribs are flaring out and you've lost sort of that neutral spine, that nice natural curvature in your lower back. Okay, so it looks like this. Right? Ribs are sticking out. There's a huge curve in my spine. So to fix that, I want to think about bringing my ribs down and squeezing my abs back into a safe overhead position. Okay, so that's overextension, bringing awareness to always squeezing your abs, bringing your ribs down, and again, having that nice straight line between the bar, your shoulders, your hips, and the middle of your foot. Another common fault that we tend to see in the shoulder press is that the bar finishes too far forward out in front of your body. So remember, I keep saying that there should be a vertical line that extends from the barbell down through your shoulders, hips, and the middle of your foot. So when that doesn't align, it looks like this. Okay, so you can see now the bar is too far forward. So to fix that, what you want to think about is pushing up and pulling back to ensure it's in a proper overhead position where that vertical line has been maintained and it's in a safe overhead position. So just being aware of where your finishing position is, that you're always stacking it efficiently over and in that frontal plane. Okay, we've just talked about two faults where we've got an overextension or the bar finishes too far forward. And sometimes what can happen due to some mobility challenges or even awareness is we play this little game of extension. Okay, I need to pull my ribs in, but now I'm forward. Extension, now I'm pulling forward. So how do we get into that proper position when we've got some challenges in our shoulder mobility? We'll work for it. Be aware of it. So let's just try some baby steps here where we've got to pull our ribs in. Now we're forward. Now push up, pull back, and the extension occurs again. So squeeze your belly and then push up and pull back. So you're gonna finally work to get into that range where you're stacked overhead, work for it, be aware of it, and really be relentless in achieving that proper finishing position where the barbell is stacked directly over top in that frontal plane. Another fault that we tend to see is not locking out your elbows in the finished position, so your elbows are kind of bent, or not having an active shoulder in that finished position. So what I mean by that is it could look like this, where you've got a good starting position, pressing overhead, and we finish here before it comes back down. So you can see my elbows never lock out, my shoulders aren't activated, they're just kind of there guiding my arms. What we want to see is a full lockout, so strong arms, elbows fully locked out, and I'm pressing up on the bar, so activating those shoulders before we come back down. Okay, this next fault we tend to see a lot, especially with a barbell shoulder press, but also with a dumbbell shoulder press, is the line of action of the barbell. What we want to see is a straight bar path from start to finish. Now I talk a lot about ensuring your finished position is in that vertical line that brings your wrists down your shoulders, hips, and middle of your foot. But we also want it to start and finish that way, and through the movement go in that vertical line. So what can sometimes happen is the barbell goes out and then finishes overhead and then comes out and then back into that starting position. So it arcs around your head. So there's a few things we want to look at here to ensure that straight bar path. First is elbow position. So your starting position should have your elbows slightly in front of the bar. Sometimes if our elbows are behind the bar, that's already pushing the bar in this direction. So as we start, we want to make sure our elbows are slightly in front, because that's going to push straight up on the bar. The next is we got to get our head out of the way. So instead of pushing the bar around your head, you want to pull your head back and out of the way as the barbell goes up. So think about keeping it so close that literally the barbell is just kind of brushing past your nose on the way up and brushing past your nose on the way down. So be aware of your elbow position, head out of the way, brush your nose, finish overhead, and bringing it back down the same direction. So head out of the way, brush your nose, finish here, elbows in front. Okay, and again, the same thing with your dumbbells. Again, you don't have to push your head out of the way because there's nothing getting in the way with dumbbells, but the same thing, we don't want to push forward and back. We want your direct line of action to be straight overhead. So in this position, elbows are slightly in front, and all you're doing is pressing your hands straight up, finishing in that overhead position, and then coming back down to where you started in that straight line.